My brother-in-law and I were on a long road trip from Ilocos Norte to Bicol, Albay in the Philippines. We had been driving for hours, navigating the winding roads that stretched through the provinces. The journey was a long one, but the breathtaking views of the countryside kept us company. As we approached Camarines Sur, the sun began to set, casting an eerie glow over the landscape. The road ahead seemed to stretch on endlessly, with only the occasional gas station or rest stop in sight. We decided to push on, determined to reach our destination before nightfall. It was well past midnight when we finally spotted a rest stop in the distance. We pulled off the road, grateful for the chance to stretch our legs and use the restroom. As we approached the double doors, we noticed that they were locked. Confused, we looked around for a sign explaining why, but there were none to be found. Suddenly, my brother-in-law froze, his face pale as a ghost. "Look," he whispered, pointing to the wall near the back of the rest stop. There, in the dim light, was a splash of bright red, a streak of blood that seemed to glisten in the darkness. We both turned to leave, our hearts pounding in our chests. As we hurried back to our car, I noticed another vehicle parked nearby. It had no license plates and multiple dents, and there was an empty gun rack in the back window. We quickly got into our car and sped away, desperate to put as much distance between us and that eerie rest stop as possible. It wasn't until hours later, when we finally had cell service, that we were able to contact the authorities. They assured us that they would investigate the scene, but as far as I know, we never heard back from them. To this day, the memory of that chilling encounter haunts me. What happened at that rest stop? Who or what was responsible for the blood on the wall? And what became of the mysterious car with no plates and the empty gun rack? I may never know the answers to those questions, but one thing is certain. I'll never forget the terror I felt in that moment, alone on the dark road to Bicol, surrounded by the unknown. In my early 20s, I was active on Friendster, trying to connect with new people. Sometimes I'd go out with a girl and find we didn't click, or I'd get stood up. Eventually, I matched with a girl who lived just a couple of miles away from my student dormitory. I could tell her profile was new. After chatting for a day, we decided to meet for dinner that evening. I planned to pick her up at her dorm. When I arrived, I texted her for her room number. After driving around the complex, I finally found her building and parked outside. She quickly replied, insisting that I come meet her at the door. This annoyed me because there was nowhere close to park, and I had to walk a bit. As I approached her building, I pulled up her profile one last time to remind myself of what she looked like. Scrolling through her pictures, I noticed something unsettling. They were inconsistent. Each photo featured a girl who looked similar but different. How did I not catch this before? I gave her the benefit of the doubt and assumed they were just pictures with friends. When I reached the door, I was surprised to find it slightly ajar. Just as I was about to knock, the door swung open, and there stood the girl from the profile. But something was off. Her eyes seemed vacant, and her movements were unnaturally stiff. Before I could say anything, she smiled eerily and said, "You're not who I expected." Confused, I asked what she meant. She replied that she hadn't added anyone named me personally and wondered how we matched. Panic surged through me. Something felt very wrong. Trusting my instincts, I turned and bolted back to my car. Once home, my phone buzzed with a notification from Friendster. It was a message from the girl. "Where did you go? You didn't even give me a chance." My heart raced as I realized she had sent it right after our encounter. I deleted and blocked her right away, shaken by the experience. Who was that girl at the door? Why did she seem like my match yet feel so different? The thought of what could have happened left me feeling uneasy as I vowed never to trust online connections so easily again.